All right. Video number 2 on this 3-part series in Living Unrivaled, 3 steps to bettering your life. The first 3 you have to do before you really start to dial things in. We tackled addiction already in our other video. If you're struggling with a substance problem, please go check that out. Please. Now, we're on to weight loss. I mean, this is across the board. Everyone's looking at this if they are any heavier than they want to be, for the most part. And so a lot of people all establish relationships with at work or outside of work, and one day after knowing them for 4 months, I might come across that I was 240 pounds at one point. You can see I was big, and they're like, no, you don't even look like you are. How'd you do that? How'd you get rid of that? And there's a lot of steps that came into play. And first one was, as I talked about in the addiction video, I was scared for my life and I wanted to better myself. And so first things first for weight loss is your food consumption, obviously. Don't even think about exercise until you dial in your diet. Just focus on the food. And so I would eat 1 meal a day, massive amounts of garbage. That was how I ate. That's a horrible way to eat. Everyone, for the most part, knows you're supposed to eat 3 meals a day, this, that. Now we know that there's a lot of different eating schedules and dietary things you can do to change your habits to more align with your goals. But anyways, so first thing for me was eating first thing in the day. Blueberry RX bar first thing in the morning. That was enough to just give me something to keep functioning, keep going. From there, it was eating lunch too. Eating again. So now I'm having about 3 meals a day. Morning one's not really much of a meal. Lunch is a small, light substance. But we're regularly consuming because now our body's going to be used to having calories. So not only is it going to be like, okay, now I have the energy to perform and to be a little more active and to move quicker, which just involves burning more calories, but it's going to start to learn to process those calories. So our metabolism is going to rise and it's going to start working through these, and all of a sudden the Blueberry RX bar isn't enough at all. So now our body's hungry at times where we never were before. Not only that, but we're waking up hungry. Waking up hungry was something I hadn't done in the longest time. I mean, I didn't know what that was like. I woke up and I was like, food sounds horrible. Why would you want to eat breakfast? When I was a kid, breakfast was one of the greatest things ever. I love breakfast. I love breakfast now. It's awesome. But that was the first thing. Get your metabolism up, get your body moving, give it the nutrients it needs to function. So now once you've started regularly consuming, make sure you're dialing in that the things you're consuming are right. So you've adjusted your timeline to make your body used to consuming and burning calories. Now we're going to make sure that we're eating whole, healthy foods. We're cutting out as much processed garbage as possible. We're eating vegetables, lean meat if you eat meat, low fat, somewhat low carb at first, but I enjoy having a decent amount of whole grains because of just, I feel very satiated when I eat it, and I just hold that energy very well. So for some reason, for me, whole grains work great with my body for throughout the day, being able to be functional and active, and as well before a nice workout. I do like whole grains. I go lower on them throughout the day, but they're great for functionality, personally for me. So cut out refined carbs, cut out as much sugar as possible, and any unnecessary fats. And so fats I would be consuming or nuts, olive oil, avocado oil, and fat that is in meat. But relatively, for the most part, I'm going for leaner meats. This allowed me to consume the healthier fats a little bit more. So I was eating a lot of nuts, which are pretty high in calories, but my body's all of a sudden used to like, oh, well, we're burning calories. Who cares? Pile them on. And I was all of a sudden eating more than I had in years, but eating decent foods, having more energy, moving faster than I ever had, so burning more calories. So from there, I've adjusted to eating more, in fact, but eating better foods. Once I was eating more, eating better foods, on a consistent timeline where I felt good and I felt energized, I could add in the exercise. So the first exercise I started doing was a brief run. Some people like running, some don't. For me, it's great. I did it as a kid a lot, but I would actually wake up in the morning, I'd eat my Blueberry RX bar, I'd go to work. On my first break at work is when I actually had my lunch. So I ate my lunch on my first break. And so I've had my 2 periods of food, and then at my lunchtime is when I would go and run. I'd clock out, I'd walk outside in a pair of Keen work boots and utility pants, and the industrial facility I worked on is at the top of a little hill. So I would run up and down this hill for 15, 20 minutes on my lunch, and I go back, and I get back to work. And this worked marvelously. Like, the weight just started like shredding off because I woke up in the morning and my metabolism was already going. I ate my little bit of food. I had a period where, of course, I'm burning through 200 calories worth of an RX bar, especially being so big. I'm going to burn those calories fast. Burn through it, and then all of a sudden, I'm eating once more. So I'm getting those nutrients that I needed, plenty of energy to have my 15, 20-minute run on my lunch because I ate lunch on my break. And then I'm already burning through a decent amount of that meal. By the time I've hit my lunch run, I've been able to burn through the rest of it on my run and burn through a little more. So I'm already in a deficit, I'm burning through fat, and then I'm carrying along my day. By the time I'm eating dinner, I'm eating decent food, remember. I'm eating lean meats, I'm eating veggies, I'm eating the good stuff. What people know are good for you. As minimally processed food as possible, this is what I was consuming. And so I got to a point where I went home and I was already like, shit, I'm gonna run again. So before I ate, I would go on one more run. Just a quick run, like nothing crazy. 10, 15 minutes. But keep in mind, if I'm 240 pounds, by that time, maybe 220, 210, I'm burning a lot of calories on a short run. So these time periods spaced between meals, I was hitting my run. So where the meals stacked up enough energy to get a quality run in, but by the time I was done with the run, I was depleted on my sources of energy and I was burning through fat. The next thing I incorporated was a proper sleep schedule. A lot of people are familiar with Andrew Huberman's sleep routine, and if you have not checked this out, get on it right now. Check it out. You need to, because many of the things on there changed my life. Number one, just being consistent times. Make sure you're sleeping the same amount every night as much as possible. At the same times for going to sleep and waking up every night. And this consistent schedule allowed your body to be used to it, as well as placing your food consumption around those timelines. So this gave you a period where your body knew it would always be without food. You'd have the most fat oxidation during sleep as possible. You'd wake up and immediately be back to it. So once the times were right, first thing I jumped into is somewhat of one that if you're into it, people absolutely love it. If you're skeptical of it, chances are you're not even going to try it. But the cold shower, still to this day, I wake up certain days and I'm just like, it's painful. I don't want to do it. I say, no, I don't want to get in, please, no. But once you get into a routine, even on those days, you know, you just got to get it done because you're going to get this incredible exhilaration after. You'll also get like this happiness of like, I'm getting to it. I'm doing things people aren't doing, which is a crucial step in this, of feeling like you're outside of the box of what people are doing, feeling like you're doing something that people aren't willing to actually really commit to. Allowing your body to get pretty damn cold in that cold water and then step out and heat itself up. So now your body's already working, that metabolism is already going, because it's like, we got to warm up, we got to get going for the day, boom, 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 and then you're on to it. So cold shower first thing in the morning was wonderful. I started shredding off pounds because I'm waking up in the morning, getting in a cold shower, I'm immediately active, I'm going, my body's functioning. And then I'm sleeping at the right time, so I have plenty of time for fat oxidation. I've got a time period before I go to sleep where I'm not eating. I've got a time period leading up to my blueberry RX bar that I wasn't eating, because the RX bar would be as soon as I get into the car to go to work. So I've got an hour and a half, 2 hours, keep in mind, where I haven't eaten right away, but it's still first thing in the morning when I'm eating, and I've got those nutrients to keep going. So now that I've incorporated exercise, I've incorporated a good sleep schedule and a morning routine, it's really just keep going up from there. So from there, I can add in more exercise. And one of the most important things for exercise for me, this dials into your food as well, actually, is don't do things you don't enjoy. If you want to eat healthy foods that you enjoy, so you still look forward to eating. I don't eat things I don't want to eat. I'll be very clear. I eat what I want to eat because I enjoy eating. I just make sure it's the healthy things that I like. And so that goes the same for exercise. Why would you do something you don't want to do? If you hate running, don't run. But do you like swimming? Do you like riding a bike? What do you like to do? So the big motivating activity for me that I found was actually something that's kind of popular right now. Is there was a climbing gym that popped up in the city I live in, and from the first time I fell in love. And actually to this day, I've never even touched the ropes at this climbing gym, because the first day I went, I hopped onto the bouldering floor and I started bouldering, and it was just immediately like this love of like, wow, this is incredible. This is so fun. My body, after that first day, my body was in pain. I was sore as all hell, and finding this was crucial to that, because it wasn't like, oh, I've got to go to the gym. It was, I know what I want to do. I want to go exercise. I want to go to the gym. I want to boulder, because I'm going to have a hell of a time, I already know. And then I'm going to be beat after, absolutely beat. And that was amazing. Like, if you're looking forward to exercising, you're going to burn calories because you're going to always want to be exercising. What's better than that? So now you're eating healthy, you're always exercising, and you're enjoying it. And then the amazing thing is that you see results, and results are like a little treat. Like, keep going, keep pushing. So yeah, you're gonna have fun doing what you're doing. You're gonna look forward to eating well after, because it's gonna make you feel better. You're gonna start seeing results, and then you're just gonna want to keep on pushing, which is incredible. It's stimulating, it's rewarding, and it's like one of the best things in life is just seeing those pounds fade away. And eventually people start to notice too, and they start to climb. And that's when you're like, wow, like, I'm really doing something here. Like, people are kind of shocked, and they're like, damn, how are they doing that? Well, it went from hard work and dedication to a lifestyle that is just ingrained in your head and you enjoy. No longer are we forced to go to the gym because we're doing something we enjoy. No longer are we forced to go out and be active because we are enjoying it. So that's the crucial step. Make sure you're enjoying the activity you do. Make sure you're enjoying the food that you eat. And it's going to become a lot easier. A lot easier. Now that our body's used to consuming, we can play around with the timeline. Maybe we can push off that food a little to give us a bigger window of deficit and fat oxidation. Maybe we can eat a little early to give us a window in the evening. we can cut down our calories, but make sure we're consuming satiating foods that are going to give us everything we need. Make sure we're getting plenty of protein. That was a big thing is for a long time, they didn't eat a crazy amount of meat. They just ate fried garbage, whatever, but good meats, good vegetables, good whole grains. They're wonderful. Another thing is yogurt is great. It's heavy on the probiotics. Anything with probiotics, yogurt, kimchi, kefir, whatever it is, that's a good thing. Make sure your gut health is in line. Because if your gut isn't properly digesting everything, it's going to be real hard to make sure you're getting everything you need and burning through everything at a quick rate. So probiotics, adding in some kind of supplementation with vitamins, make sure all your bases are covered on that. An easy, I mean, I'm a Costco fan. I get my Kirkland signature vitamin, my omega-3 there, and I'm pretty much covered. But as you get into the health world, you'll see, you'll get a lot of ads, you'll get a lot of things that you might want to try. And this trial and error, it takes forever and is almost never ending because there's always new things coming out. But it's also exciting to continue to try and see what really works for you. Just do your research, don't be fooled. And one thing I say is that regardless of what you see other people say about a routine, if it's the cold showers or a supplementation of some sort, is I feel that if it's not damaging your health or damaging your finances, if it makes you feel any better in any way, regardless of what other people say, then do it. Like, you feel good. So what if there's no real science behind it? If it's a placebo effect, I mean, that's still kind of science. Like, do it. Just do it. Like, if you feel great, if it's improving your life, who cares what other people say? As long as it's not affecting someone else in a drastically negative way, it's not hurting your pocketbook, which is a big issue with a lot of these supplements and products. Find the ones that really work for you. I'll have countless reviews that you can see that actually have worked for me, the ones that I've gone through that didn't actually quite work, and the ones that I like, but that's a heavy price point. For a regular consumer, just keep in mind, we're regular everyday people that are having to go to work 5 days a week for 8, 10, 12, 14 hours. And, we're trying to pay our bills. We're not just spending money like that. So that's a big one. But just remember that it's all going to bring you joy. The more you go through it, the more you find things that you love to do, activities, the more food you learn to make and eat, and it's just going to change your life. You're going to feel healthy. You're going to feel better. You're going to carry out your life in a way that you never have before. One of the biggest things that I would always reflect on when I was big, when I had substance issues, is just remembering what it was like when I was young and when I didn't have, body fat, but when I had energy to do things and I didn't have like this mindset of needing certain things to carry on through the day, whether it's a substance or whatever it is. It's just free functioning on a level that there was not 100% happiness, but a little bit of carelessness and less worry. And the worry we'll get to in the anxiety video, because that's another step. And we're video 2 of the 3 steps. This is a big one, leading to the anxiety, because in this weight loss, we're building health, we're building confidence, and we're training ourselves to do things that we have not done before or haven't done in a long time. So reflecting on that time when you were a child and you didn't really care, but your mind was in a state where you weren't really tripping over things and you were functioning throughout the day on a healthy, energetic level. And I'm at a point now where I'm in a similar state. I'm able to laugh on my own. I can eat all I want for the most part, as long as it's good food, and I'll feel great. I'll have energy. I'll be able to run around and do things. I can boulder if I want. I can lift weights if I want. Like, that's incredible. Another big thing with the exercise and the weight loss is building a community. There's a huge athletic community out there. And so if you're just going to, the the basketball court around the corner, you might start meeting someone that goes there a lot. You're going to build friends. You're going to have a community of people that like to be active as well. And that's just going to motivate you even more. And that's an incredibly beneficial part of this, is having the people that really push you to do that. On the other end of the spectrum, there's a lot of people in your life that were already in your life that you meet, you're around, especially at work, that kind of place those not so good things in there. Donuts in the break room are like I hate that. They're the worst thing ever. I like donuts. I really like donuts. They're one of my weak spots. And so you'll learn that as much as you become hard lines into just consuming a certain way, the outside world or people outside of you are the ones that really, really tempt you with things. Because you can cut so many things out of your life, but even if you live with someone, with a partner, kids, they're going to want fruit snacks and cookies and cupcakes and donuts in the break room. And they're tempting. And sometimes you might give in. One thing that I've learned is to embrace the feeling when, if I do give in, I definitely am upset at myself. And I take that and I lead it on to the next experience. And the next time that the donuts are in the break room and I look at them, I reflect on the last time, or if I ate a donut, I don't want to feel that way again. Like, I had like 30 seconds where I was eating the donut, where like, oh, this is good. And then all of a sudden, like, I'm like, fuck, why did I do that? I shouldn't have eaten the donut. Now I feel bad. Now my exercise later on in the day is going to be not worth much and is not going to be as intense. Like, I just ruined everything. The outside world will tempt you, and people will place things in that are going to be hurdles you have to get over. And the upside to that is when you do just disregard it, you feel, it's a weird thing to say you have power over donuts, but you feel a certain type of power that is really rewarding, because all of a sudden you don't need it. You hear people, I think it's Joe Rogan that always said, just say no, just don't do it. You don't eat it. And it's like, hearing that at the moment, you're like, yeah, just don't eat it. And then there's something in front of your face and you're fucking hungry. All of a sudden you're like, well, I want to eat it. But place that in your mind. Think about how lackadaisically you can just say, just don't eat it. It's not a big deal. If you can take the power away from things and give yourself the power, because once you've done it once, you realize, you've got some mental strength. It's not a big deal. Just don't eat it. Now all of a sudden you're used to doing that. And it's like, okay, these times where you give in to things, it's not that bad. But it's like, oh, it's just whatever. It's just, I'm gonna eat something better later. And then if you really do want these things, one thing that helps me is giving myself a timeline. Cheat days are difficult because if I were to have a full-on cheat day, I could consume enough calories in a day to completely backset myself a week and a half down the line. But one thing about consuming food is, for most people, cutting things out entirely isn't very ideal. So I set the timeline of, I'm going to eat like this for 3 weeks. And then there's going to be a time period of, I'm able to treat myself to this, whatever it is. Give yourself a food that you've been craving and an amount. That's important, is set the amount, because like I said, that overconsumption can backset all the progress you have made. So set an amount of the treat, set whatever it is. If you want to eat donuts, okay, what is it? 3, 4 donuts? That's a lot of donuts still. But if you set it, that's what you're sticking to. You're not buying a dozen and burning through the whole dozen in a day. Keep that in mind. Another thing that I like to do is finding rewards that are like way better on the healthier side. So it's like, well, if I want a dessert at the end of the day, like, I don't need to go buy a cupcake, because I can make a smoothie and it'll be sweet and delicious. Like, lots of protein powder is relatively sweet, unfortunately, but you can make a smoothie with berries, milk, protein powder, and then some kind of healthier sweetener. Honey, maple syrup. Maple syrup and honey are great for sweeteners. They're wonderful. Find the alternative that's much healthier, lower in calories, more beneficial in other healthy macronutrients, and substitute it with that. And all of a sudden, you've got a treat. You're still probably at a calorie surplus now, maybe, depending on how much other things you've consumed. But if you're stacking in a treat at a certain point, well, if you can make it 50% healthier, you're going to be much better off when you are consuming that. And then you won't have such so much more to get back to once you're back in line. That's a big one for me. So keep in mind, we talked about changing up your timing of consumption of food. This is going to allow your body to change its metabolic rate. It's going to adjust to having times where it's oxidizing fat and you're burning fat and you've still got energy. It's going to allow yourself to learn to be hungry. And then you're going to train your brain to eat certain foods. So now you're eating certain foods, you're feeling wonderful, and you're exercising. You got energy to exercise, you're learning different movements, you're getting stronger, and you're feeling better. But keep in mind, you're going to have ups and downs. So throughout the time period, a big thing for me was injuries, is I pushed myself. Is I wasn't just like, all right, I'm going to the gym right now. Like I was going to the gym, I was bouldering, doing all sorts of movements my body had never done even before I was hefty. And I had back injuries, I had knee injuries, I had like learning to rehabilitate yourself is difficult, but also a very good thing to do because you learn like, all right, I'm starting to feel pain. Well, now I know I need to stretch and then I'm going to ice and then maybe I'll take some ibuprofen. What am I going to do? I need some arnica throughout the day so I'm feeling better. Adjust to this new period in your life where your body is learning how to move in different ways. But it's going to be difficult because you're doing things you haven't done. But you'll get through that time period. And once you're through that time period, you'll have burned through pounds and pounds of body fat. You'll be stronger. You'll have built more muscle as long as your food intake is correct. And you'll just be better off all around. Like that's just the bottom line is you're going to be so much happier. You're going to feel so much better. It's going to be wonderful. So I'd love for people to, in the comments, comment your weight loss journey, whether you're done with it, whether you're working through it, like where were you at? What are you down to? What are you trying to get to? What, if there's something else you've done, like what have you done? And let's support each other. Let's be a community of how we're going to get better. We're trying to live unrivaled. That's living better than any other state possible. We're living the best life because the best life is working through challenges, learning how to better ourselves in every way in health, in work, in relationships. That's what we're doing because we're going to be much happier than we were the day before. Always bettering ourselves. Again, comment what you're going through, comment what you're trying to get to, and let's help each other. We're going to do this.